back to Off, Over 50 and Fired, Now What with Linda.
And Shelley. Tonight is a nice sunny day. We're just munching on some chips and pretzels, but a storm is coming tonight. We need to get prepared.
I'm really getting sick of this weather, Shelley.
I know, it really sucks. Last time, we talked about stepping back and reflecting before you work on your branding, and had a one-off segment with Betsy, who gave some great books to leverage for self-discovery and figuring out how to blend what you want from your personal and your professional life.
So in this episode, we're introducing a new segment called Offshoots, which focuses on one helpful hint or brief listener experience. These shorter episodes of about 5 to 10 minutes will introduce listener tools, techniques, or stories that can help you along the journey. We've gotten some great feedback and stories from our listeners, and we'll be using the offshoots along with our one-off segments to share them. In this offshoot, we'll be sharing a great pointer from a past colleague.
Linda, he's just our colleague. He's not dead.
Sorry, Shelley. I meant that we're no longer working with him. Our friend Joey B., who was farther along the transition journey, shared with us this resource to help in the reflection stage of the journey to creating your brand.
Joey B told us about this online tool that's available for free to anyone. It's called the Fascination Personality Test, which is a new way to measure how people perceive your communication style.
So this test was developed by Sally Hogshead, who is known as a world-class branding expert. Before she started researching the science of fascination, Sally was a top advertising professional. You can take the personality test for free at www.howtofascinate.com.
We took the test. What did you think, Linda?
So for me, when I looked at the results, which actually, before I get into my results, I'll talk a little bit about the test itself. And it's just really a series of questions, about maybe 10 or 20 of them. I can't remember exactly.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. And then after you're done with those questions, they give you sort of a snapshot of how others would perceive you and some descriptors. So number one, you get a headliner. And then you get these adjectives that would describe how others would perceive you. And then, interesting is they give you sort of your primary and your secondary advantage, like from a description perspective. So on the surface, it looked pretty positive. But then when I was stepping back and thinking about it, I'm like, well, I'm trying to sell myself as an executive with, lots of years of experience. And some of these actually may not be perceived as an advantage for an executive. And so I'm going to have to be careful when I'm putting together my branding materials and when I'm interviewing that maybe I have to dial some of these down. Mm-hmm. And some of these others I might have to dial up to be perceived in that sort of executive president's perspective.
Yeah. So, maybe if you think about it, there was that one area kind of when we looked at your stuff about the passion. You're really passionate. Maybe to that point, maybe you'll scare people off. I know sometimes you scare me. I get scared. You get so passionate, so I think that's great. It's a really nice way to think about it, like Linda said. And then when I look at my stuff, what I saw is I think it's more of how people perceive me, my friends, personal friendships and personal relationships, so family and friends, around me than more so from my professional. I didn't think it really weeded over into the professional space.
Well, some of it did, I think. I think that whole mystique part did.
That's right. Nobody knows what I'm really thinking. I'm a true poker face. Thanks, Joey B. Great stuff. We would love to hear your stories and helpful hints on anything having to do with this episode or previous episodes. You can submit your stories, feedback, and suggestions for future podcast topics by going to our website,
www.over50andfired.com, and click on Contact Us. Who knows, your story may be on our next offshoots. The link to the Fascination Personality Test can be found on our blog for episode 9.
On our next podcast, we'll be continuing our discussion on branding with another one-off segment with one of our listeners around resumes.
Thanks for listening. Bye.